Welcome back to Listen, I'm a Barber podcast, and we got my little co-host here for a quick second, Frank, and we're here with somebody who just blew me away the day I met her, the lovely Megan Duffy. Meg, how are you, darling?
You? I'm good. How are you?
Oh my God, it's so awesome to have you. We've been planning this for a little bit now, and I think when I first met you, I didn't know what to think. You had such a mysterious vibe, but like such a big smile, and I'm like, oh my God, like, why is she so fucking dope? And I think people need to know the things that we've talked about over the last few years, because it's been truly a story that has motivated me as well. So real quick, like, where are you from?
I'm from overseas originally, so I'm from Israel.
No way. That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. Like, where did your background come from, though? Like, when you moved here, like, people don't really know much past your tattooing, but I want to get to how you got here, which is unfucking real.
Thanks.
You know, when I'm trying to think, we met each other at the Cherry Hill Tattoo Convention.
Yes.
Year one. And I remember Chum was like, yo, you gotta meet this chick. She's fucking awesome. Like, and she's a sick artist. And I'm like, okay. You know, until you meet somebody, you're just like, all right, whatever. Like, I don't give a shit. And then I met you, and I was like, oh my God, this chick's like a fucking giant ball of light. And then to actually see you work with your first client, and I think you did a tiger on his arm, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
You did the tiger.
I did, and he was so fucking funny. Like, he was the funniest dude. I don't know what we were talking about, but like, it was just, he was so funny that it's like, I don't remember the tat exactly. I just remember his humor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess that's kind of going to tie into like what I wanted to talk to you about, because I've been a barber for almost 20 years, and I know you've been tattooing for years. And to see just the progression I've seen in the last 3 years alone was almost like you hit a nitrous button on your career.
Yeah.
You know, which I'll be honest, I see a lot of people go in and out of these like tough industries where you have to fend for yourself and they don't make it. So today I kind of want to talk about like how you made it. You know, what we discussed before kind of teared me up, and I was like, holy shit, like there's no way somebody like you should be in this spot. And I want to get down to how you really beat all that.
Yeah.
So how did it start for you, like tattooing in general?
So, you know, I went through like a really, really bad relationship when I first started tattooing. And so I was working in restaurants, you know, day to day. I mean, to the point where it was like I had no structure. I had no, like, I always wanted to tattoo. Like, since like me and my friends were at parties, I would always say like, I'm going to be a tattoo artist. I'm going to be a tattoo artist. That was my dream. But, you know, I found myself in a place where I didn't want to be in my own body. I didn't like the way my life was going.
Like a really dark place.
I was in a really dark place. You know, I had no boundaries set for myself. And my loyalty as a person put me in a place where I was sleeping on a twin mattress in a basement or in hotels to avoid, because I had nothing that drove me. So what drove me was my relationship. So people meant more to me than myself did.
Loyalty is a very good and bad thing.
Yeah.
I've been loyal to people that have shown me love, and I've been loyal to people that have really burnt the shit out of me.
Yeah.
And it's tough to hold such a high standard of loyalty when it's like, oh, don't let me be loyal to you and you fuck me. Like, don't do that to me. Like, because I'm really here for you as well.
Yeah. Well, no, I was put in that position, and then it was kind of like I had a life-altering thing happen with that relationship, and I said, well, now that I got away from it, now that I'm out of it, it's either I chase my dreams or I go down a wrong path, and I decided to go and try to tattoo.
So I have a question before we get into the tattoo journey, you know, going back to the dark spot. I think there's a lot of people that, one, wouldn't expose that about themselves, which I really appreciate you telling me. You know, I know a lot of people that will hide their, you can say trauma or whatever, but they hide it kind of as like a keepsake. And it's like, nah, like some of the most traumatic things in my life have actually launched me to where I'm at today in my career. Like, I've built my business, and, you know, I think that's really awesome. But I have to ask you, because after traumatic incidents in my life, I usually get the pit. I like to call it that pit in your stomach where it's like you're constantly sick.
Yeah.
Sick of your environment, sick of the people around you, sick of the shit you hear from people. And, you know, when you just spoke about the negativity, I was kind of like, fuck, man, like I really get that. You know, like I was a white kid that wanted to cut hair in a black barbershop. Nobody was telling me I was going to do that. They all actually laughed amongst the same accord. Like, you really want to do that? You'll never be good enough. You know what I mean? And it gave me that pit, dude. It fucking sucked. You know what I mean? I didn't know how to fucking deal with that. Kind of went on a spiral. You know what I mean? I went on a massive downward spiral. Did drugs, drank a lot, like just numbed myself. And, you know, it took some loyal people in my corner that I didn't even know I had to like bring me out of it.
Yeah.
You know, is that a similar situation for you? Like, how did you get out of that to get to the tattooing? You know?
Like, how did I get out of the relationship? Or how I got out of that
the dark spot? Because, you know, I feel like the relationship ending is always a simple choice for people. It's just harder. It's more like, okay, like, I know I'm not supposed to do this, but how do I do it? How do I break this? Like, after it was broken and, you know, the relationship was done, like, what were the actions that you took to start tattooing?
I mean, I started to put my, what's that saying? Put your money where your mouth is?
Put your money where your mouth is?
Yeah, I was just tired of being a fuck up. I was like, you try to talk your way out of it, right? So because like
I have 100%.
Yeah, so it's like, so I was just kind of like would live in this mirage dream, like, yeah, I'm the shit, da da da. I'm fucking driving a Nissan Altima with no hubcaps. You know what I mean? So it's like
self-ego that does kind of like the fake it till you make it. Like, you know, when people say like you got to almost like envision who you want to be to actually become that person. Like, I don't think the fake it till you make it is real. I think it's like, no, this is the person I want to be because I don't want to be this other person anymore. You know, and I go back and forth with many people that are like, fake it till you make it. And I'm like, no, it's like you just do it.
Yeah.
And you do it long enough to where it's like, I'm confident in what I'm doing. I'm no longer just like shooting a gamble, like, all right, this is either going to work or it's not.
But I think also the biggest mistake with a lot of tattoo artists in this industry is they think they're there before they're there, and it completely cripples their growth. And that's why, like I feel like I'll meet people and they'll be like, they're like, shit doesn't stink. And I'm like, until you're sitting in a room with people that are more knowledgeable than you and know more about tattooing, you're not in the right room. Like, you need to be in a room full of people that want you to grow and get better, because there's shit every day that I look at some of my stuff and I'm like, damn, this looks like trash. And other people would be like, oh, that looks great. But it's like, I understand that I have this whole road to grow. I'm not there yet. Like, I don't mind saying that, because when I used to say that, I was definitely not there yet. Do you know what I mean?
Oh my God. Yeah. Like time will tell you where you're at.
Yeah.
I remember, so it's kind of a funny story. You know what launched my barbering career?
What?
Do you remember that fucking stupid TV show Growing Up, Gotti, with the fucking blowout haircut? All the Italian kids had it.
I actually didn't watch TV.
No way.
I actually don't.
That's not a bad thing.
Yeah, but if I did watch that, like you just described it, I would probably be into that.
Do you remember the haircut, though, where like all the Italian kids just had their hair spiked up with the little tiny fade?
Like Jersey Shore.
Yeah. It's like, it was the beginning version of Jersey Shore.
Yeah.
I remember that haircut was so simple to do, and because everybody wanted it, I thought I was the best barber. It's literally, you take a two-clip, you pull it up, you blend it down, you shape it up. It looks sharp, but realistically, it required no real skill. But I built a lot of how I was cutting hair off of that one product. Then I stepped into the barbershop.
Yeah.
I got fucking railroaded real quick. Like, super quick. They're like, yo, you suck, dude. I'm like, what?
Yo, bro, honestly, it's so funny you say that, because when I first started at the lab, right? So I'm like, and by the way, anyone that's watching this, the lab is just a phenomenal shop. It's owned by Dan Price and GZ Tattoos, which they're honestly like the best artists, black and gray, that I've met in my life. But yeah, when I started at the lab,
Good.
I have ADD, so I'm like,
No, you're
um,
good.
no. So when I started at the lab, I thought like, oh, these guys are bringing me in. Like, I'm so ready to like show them what I got. And then I realized that I was tattooing the easy way out. I was just pretty much just putting scratches all over the place and being like, you're good to go home. Like, thanks for $800. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Yeah.
I really leveled up. And it took me realizing that I'm the small fish in a big pond at the
Yeah.
lab. And I love, and till this day, I'm still like, you know, everyone's so talented there that it's like perfection is like what is expected. And
Yeah.
it's a really, the pressure makes me grow. You don't grow in
Thank you
calm
so much.
waters.
Thank you so much for saying that.
Mm-hmm.
It really does take pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And listening to how you're saying that, you know, you started with a 3-liner, just like I started with the blowout. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then you get around some real professionals, and it's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think that's awesome though, because I remember when I first met you at the convention, and you're telling me you've grown from there, and it just kind of seemed like you had a natural talent.
Mm.
You know, not even to downplay what you just said about your own skills, because what I saw, I've been judging tattoos now at the show for almost 3 years, and I still thought your work was show gradable when I first met you.
Yeah.
You know, so it's even crazier to see that you found a whole nother level to your detail. Like, I don't know, I just think it's fucking awesome.
I appreciate it.
You know, kind of seeing where you came from, you know, in a little bit of an abusive type of environment, like negativity. I find that when I'm in the shop a lot of the times when people stop growing is they can't process the negativity. You know, whether it's the environment around them, the people around them, they don't help them process it properly.
Mm.
You know, like I see a lot of people in the shop when they come and talk to me about, let's just say something, you know, I mean, they're guys, so I don't hear the abusive relationship.
Like, where's the bitches?
Yeah, but a lot of them,
Yeah.
their pain and their trauma kind of comes from just them not knowing how to execute in life for the things they're responsible for. You know, that really is what like the male challenge is. And then when they bring it to other males, you know, when they don't have the experience, they kind of gas them into a circle, and they just go into this ever revolving loop of everybody just making them feel better. And, you know, the pressure is what I try to kind of apply to my clients when they bring a problem to me. Make them think a little bit. It's like, hold on. Do you really want to be done with this like situation, or do you kind of just want to sit in your own fucking dirty diaper? Like, what do you want to do? And most of them are like, I can't feel this way no more. I'm like, well, what are you doing to get out of it? Who are you talking to? Like, are you talking to people with experience? Are you talking to people that just are there? You know, I struggled, I think, for the first like 3 years of my career talking to people that had no fucking clue what I was going through.
Yeah.
So I'm asking people like, what do I do? And they're just trying to make me feel better. And then for 3 years, I realized I had made the biggest mistake of my life, not actually consulting with experience.
I feel like it's very easy to ask your friends for advice, right? So it's like super easy to be like obviously if you go up to your girl and you're like, does this dress look good? She's like, yeah, girl. Until you're talking to somebody that's like a designer, they're like, that looks like shit. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like the most successful people are the ones that take responsibility for their own actions and lean on themselves to become the best version of themselves instead of counting on everybody else, because then you're just piggybacking. So the people that really take the initiative and put the backpack on by themselves, those are the most successful people, because they understand kind of like when your knowledge is power. So when you are knowledgeable to like what you have to do, ABC, to change this, change that, change the next, if you're not executing that, then that's just when laziness comes into play.
So I want to ask you something.
Yeah.
I talk about this in the shop all the time when it comes to laziness. And I've found that laziness comes from a certain type of lifestyle. And I try not to like piss people off when I say this, but when you have a 9 to 5, most people's motivation is used during their 9 to 5. So by the time they come home for themselves, there's no more motivation. So that's where like sometimes the laziness comes in.
Bro, oh my gosh. I'm so happy you just brought that up. That is my biggest, it's why dating is so hard for me if with somebody with not drive or career, because it's kind of like they go to work to meet the bare minimum. And then after that, they're like, okay, well, my duties are done. No, where's your inspiration? Where's your goals? Where's your aspiration?
It's wasted on the 9 to 5.
Yep.
And I don't believe that's everybody. I know there's going to be people listening to this that are like, that's not me. And it's like, okay, the majority it is.
Yeah.
The majority, they go to work, they put their focus on making the money,
Yeah.
which is just enough to get through. And I break this down to everybody. After you make like 75 grand in America, the only difference in lifestyle you have would more or less be like if you're making like a couple $100,000 a year, like a way bigger potential freedom financially. Most people think that like by the time, you hit a certain number and you're like, I guess in your yearly salary, it's like, oh, well,
Yeah.
I make 80 grand. It's like next year I'm going to make 100 grand. It's like, all right, you break that down 20 grand, then you're going to get taxed on that 20 grand and it's higher because it's in a different bracket. So that 20 extra thousand you made might actually only be about 11,000. So now after the 11,000, you break it down, it's only about what? A little under $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
$250 a week. I can see people spending that really fast as opposed to using it to advance in another place. And I feel like that's another part where laziness comes into play because options just slowly get limited. When I talk to people that are entrepreneurs, it's like when we open our eyes for our day, it's ours. We can pick and choose exactly what we're going to do with our day, whether it goes to our business, our relationship, our family. It's like, okay, I have a full 24 hours to myself. Not, okay, I wake up, I have an hour to get my shit straight and potentially get to a job, where then I have to focus on this other guy's shit to make him money for X amount of hours, then come home, be mentally drained that I don't want to fucking do that, and then sit home and it's like, oh shit, do I have a child I have to take care of? My wife, girlfriend, the bills. Oh wait, I gotta have a life for myself, some friends. Like it just destroys opportunity, and I think that's what creates the laziness. Do you know what I mean? It's like, wait, how am I gonna have like a relationship with this person? Like on dating. Can't even have a relationship with somebody that doesn't even have their own time. If they only have 5 hours realistically to themselves, like it's very difficult to get to know somebody in 5-hour increments. Do you know what I mean? Everybody says, oh yeah, you gotta be special. And it's like, it's good time. But it's like, you have to challenge yourself for that full 5 hours with that person to really think you want to be with them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's uncomfortable as fuck.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I can go back to this. Like it's the laziness. And I see that you didn't have any. Like that's the best thing I could say. Like when I was told from all those negative thoughts, I can be honest and say, I don't know if I ever would have been a barber if people didn't fucking hate the idea of it.
I love that
what I
people
mean?
doubted me. Like that's my favorite thing. Like somebody doubting me because of like my past with people being like, you're never going to be anything. You doubt me. That's just like that's my juice to just be like, all right, let me prove you wrong, But as far as laziness comes to play, like I'm hungry, like for everything. Like I'm hungry for growth. I'm hungry for, you know what I mean? I don't have time for drama. I'm hungry for hustle, right? I mean, as far as like going to the gym, like, I'm chilling at the bottom of a bag of chips, but you know what I'm saying? But like,
what kind of chips?
I don't know, the barbecue ones,
Barbecue chips
or sour cream and onion.
Funyuns. Fuck with Funyuns.
Yep. Or I'll get like the Quest chips to feel like I'm doing something, and I eat the whole box that it comes in, and I'm like, I feel like I'm healthy now. Like if I obviously have protein in me, so I'm like one of you that go to the gym all the time.
Right.
I don't know. There's a little dust on my yoga pants. I'm not really there anymore, but
I'll be honest, I live for the gym. But that was a part that helped me though.
yeah. Like
the grown men in my life, I don't want to go down a gym rant, but the whole lazy thing, opportunities and like things like that.
Yeah.
I love that you like growth, and I like to attract myself to people and talk to people that also want growth.
Yeah.
And I think it's more like a personality perspective. And I go back to the 9 to 5 because there are dreams that you can have that literally have a financial and time goal to it. When you do not have your time for yourself, those goals like mentally shrink in your head. Somebody that wants to like if you wanted to go on a vacation right now, as long as you took care of your responsibilities and your work, you can go.
Yeah.
You can just go.
Do you know how like if you I'm sorry to cut you off.
No,
do you know how like if you speak things into existence, like you're like expired tags, I hope this cop doesn't pull me over, right? And then you just speak those negative thoughts into existence a lot, like, intrusive thoughts. And you're speaking into existence. Imagine if you trained your brain to do it in a positive way. Imagine if you were like, I'm going to be successful. I'm going to do this. I feel like, do you agree? I mean, you're a very successful barber. I mean, people respect you, number one. People respect you, I mean, on all platforms, period.
Thank you.
So, I mean, like, I've never met somebody that was like, oh, yeah, like, fuck yeah. Like, everybody's like, that's OG. You know what I mean? So it's like, you obviously learned to train your mind. You've obviously learned to put yourself in a position where you can ABC your thoughts. So what would you say, like, what's something you could give people that are looking up to you, that are like want to become like a bigger barber, or like what's something that really like jump started your mid-career, not your start of it, but something in the middle?
Like what maybe continue doing it?
Yeah, like what continued the process of success for you?
This is like sappy, but I guess having, like, I had a very limited amount of like emotional intelligence
Hell
before I started barbering. I was very like outlandish, and I would kind of like not act out of character, but
Yeah.
like, I was like a little bit of an asshole.
Oh,
And then by the time I got into the barber shop, I knew it would like sustain financially.
yeah.
And then I got to a point where once I kind of understood it, because I was always just focused on the money, paying my bills, like,
Yeah.
all that. But when I finally could pay my bills, I started paying attention to the conversation and how much I was so full of shit that nobody else knew about. Because I'm listening to these grown ass men talk about their lives, and I'm like, oh my God, like I'm such a fucking child. And you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I got hustle, I got ambition, I want things, and I'm just like, I'm a little kid, and I'm around these grown men that are talking about the things that I want, and I'm no way by any stretch of means close to these people.
Yeah.
So I spent the next, I spent the next like 4 years of my life just listening, and then taking everything I heard and go, okay, this can happen, this can't happen. Damn, this happens to a lot of people. Like you almost start taking the information in as like a catalog.
That's wild.
Yeah, like you start listening to people that you hear talk about situations emotionally.
Yeah.
And, I have this thing about marriage to where it's like, I don't not like the idea, but when you come down to a logical aspect of it, would you jump out of a plane if the parachute only opened 50%? No, half the people are dead. And that's the same statistic as
I never
marriage.
thought about it like that.
But do you know what I'm saying? So the emotional choices that
Yeah.
people make, I had to use the barbershop in my mind. Like this was my next goal, to go, wait a minute, I need to learn from the people that have the experience, to go, wait a minute, I'm going to feel this way about this moment. It's going to fluster me. It's going to, or it's going to get me high off of like dopamine, or, it's almost like when a man meets a woman like at a bar, it's like, holy shit. It's like, okay, you're just instantly getting the spark.
Yeah.
The emotional dopamine rush of like, it's new,
Yeah.
it's fresh, and it's just like, holy shit. But at the end of the day, like when that high is gone, it's like, wait a minute, holy shit, when you can control your emotions, that situation is just like another normal situation. You're looking at it the same way out of your own eyes, just now with a different perspective. The barbershop taught me perspective. I became addicted to it, to then stop really judging where I should be and judging my own actions as to like, okay, I have to do this, 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 and this to get this. And then when I get that, I have this, this, this to do to maintain it. Once the reality was there from all the people in the shop, I never wanted to leave.
Yeah.
Like that's what kept me there. The conversations, the networking. Like I talked to a new person every half an hour, on the half an hour, for almost 12 hours straight a day. I am addicted to this shit. I'm addicted to talking. I am addicted to understanding shit that if I'm not living it, it's still there.
The thing about
It's not linear,
Yeah. I think that's like so wild that you think like that, because I feel like it makes everything worth it. You know what I mean? It's kind of like reading a book. If you don't remember the book, what was the point of the book? So I feel like your life, the way that was something I looked up to you, was I felt that like you were always aspiring to me, because you didn't just write a book, you had a story. There's a difference. It's kind of like a dream and a vision. It's like you put actions to where the mouth was. And it was kind of like, I was like, damn, like I'd get done tattooing you and go home, right? And I would literally drive home and I'm like, wow, like you always made me feel like I'm not just, you have a conversation with somebody and you know what I mean? It's like the small talk, like, like when you have like life's too short for meaningless relationships, right?
Yeah.
And you know how like when you talk to somebody that you don't really have a connection with and they're just like, yeah, man, like I went to the mall, I was sick and like stopped at Wawa. And you're like, cool. So what have you been through? Like,
I have, out of my couple hundred people in my Rolodex of clients, I have 0 clients that I like that are like that.
Yeah.
They're all very like intuitive, and I almost like want to bring that side out of them.
But I feel like we naturally bring that out of people. Like, I feel like when you talk to you, like, remember the first time I met you, we're sitting there at the
convention.
The convention. Yes, that's a thing. We were sitting there, and it was just like, da-da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da, and like, it was kind of like the whole room disappeared, and it was like Meg Duff and the OG, and we're just like, hell yeah. And then that's when I was like, and I think the reason I like clients, I actually love clients, that I'm not like excited about the tattoo aspect, just, you know what I mean? I'm looking forward to seeing my client.
Like
I love that.
Like the personality.
I'm like, yo, how's the family? You know what I mean? I love love. I love depth. I'm like, we're like.
That's it.
Yeah.
Depth.
Yeah.
I love the depth.
Yep.
You just summed up.
Yep.
Everything.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something. Do you think that sometimes when like, I don't even want to say it
What?
like in a dickhead way, but like common conversations, like, I don't fucking care.
Yo.
Like it's, you know what I mean? Like you could start basic conversation off of, hey, how you doing? Yada, yada, yada. But like, if we can't get to like something interesting or something you're willing to talk about, because I've learned that, I think people have like, all right, let me say it like this. My one buddy was talking about the podcast and he's like, dude, like, you got to put somebody huge on it. And I said, I believe everybody's got something in them that makes them extremely unique. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I think people look at it as like celebrities are the only ones. And it's like, no, the common person has something massively hard that they overcame. Like they did. And trying to get them to talk about it is what I think the reality of the world is. It's just like the barber shop. Same thing with probably the tattoo shop. Mm-hmm. You really start talking to somebody and you're like, dude, you're fucking sick. You got through that? And they're smiling to you when they walk in the door. They're not down. And it's like, yeah, I don't like seeing people down. And if you can't bring yourself up after I've tried to like enlighten you, I don't fucking want you around me.
I feel like keep your negative energy over there. Like, I feel like it's so funny. I feel like, you know, I call it the small town syndrome, right? It's like small town.
Break it down.
So it's like when I meet somebody and I don't listen, you could work at Acme, you could work at a bank. I'm not judging anybody. I'm the least judgmental person there is. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying when you have the mentality of you don't want to, like, it's like kind of like you can get to level 10, but you're good at level 5. And you're that type of person. I want to keep you at a comfortable distance because you have 100% of yourself every day. So you give somebody 10%, you give somebody else 5%, you give somebody else 15%. Then you're just fucking drained, which is why I can't do girl groups. Can't do girl groups. I got 3 friends. None of them talk. They're all separate. And I see them when I see them. I got a loving boyfriend. I see him when I see him every day of my life. So I'm just saying.
Wait, question.
Yeah.
Because you just brought up something I struggled with in my life for years and still do.
Yeah.
And it's probably because, you know, it's the giving out of the percentages. But, you know, to have relationships in these types of businesses are very different.
Oh, my gosh.
You know, like I've gotten to a point where, you know, I was in a long relationship, like 11 years.
Oh.
And it was one of them things where it's like I never wanted it to end. Like I thought it was going to be it. But where I was going with what I was building, I was like, oh, shit, this doesn't make sense. You know, and I'm like, hold on, I'm not going to destroy 2 lives in one. Do you know what I'm saying?
And that's respectful because you're like, you're trying to look out for the other person.
Well, I think there's always like some type of self-survival to people.
True.
And I think that's where sometimes like trauma can come from like something completely instinctual, very instinctual. And it's like, sometimes it's not meant to be trauma. It's just meant to be another experience. Like one thing I have a problem with a lot of people is that they tell me certain problems and I'm like, yo, stop being a little bitch.
Yeah.
Like, just face it. Like, there's nothing that really can hurt you unless it fucking kills you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not down. Like, it's another fucking bump.
Yeah.
People are avoiding the bumpy roads. It's like, yo, that's where the destination's at. That's where you got to go.
I feel like my biggest elevation is always from when I'm at my lowest point. Like, I feel like for instance, last year.
Wait, say that one more
My
time.
biggest elevation is always when I'm at my lowest point because it's kind of like not my lowest point like financially or anything, but like if I hit like a rock bottom mentally, I'm like, all right, well, let's like, I mean, example, last year I went through a crazy breakup. I mean, I went through a breakup with this girl that I was in love with And
I remember that.
yep, I was. You don't know you're heartbroken until you're staring out the window. You're listening to Nickelback, and you're just like not talking to anybody. It was so
You're not
sad.
talking about Photograph by Nickelback,
Bro,
are you?
when you're driving home and you're just like, you know what I mean? Like I was heartbroken, but it made me so passionate, and I turned my pain into passion.
Fuck
And I've
yeah.
always done that, and it made me so passionate. And I remember the last thing I said was, I'm going to come up so hard in this fucking industry. Watch me. And
You did.
I'm coming up trying to have faith in me. They'd remember you ever seen that. But yeah, so I'm trying to pretty much it's funny because I'm always like, I always make a joke. I'm like, can somebody just break my heart again? Because that's when I'm the most passionate. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, pain,
Right.
pain.
Can I
It
ask you
drives
something?
me.
Like sometimes with that heartbreak creates power too.
Yeah.
A really like,
Yeah.
I'm going to even say like a narcissistic type of power.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's a lot of talk today about like narcissists.
Yeah.
And, you know, you got to pick one or the other. It's like, oh, they're a narcissist, but they're a good person.
We're like
It's
part of cancel culture right now.
yeah, like however people like try to proclaim like that title of what it is.
Yeah.
But it's like, I've said this to a lot of people. Some of the successful people in the world, you can classify as a narcissist.
Yeah.
The problem is, the one thing I tell people that like are kind of on the other fence, like, oh, that person's a dick. It's like, you got to look at what that person's vision was. If you didn't understand the person, you're not going to understand why you feel that type of way about them.
Yeah.
You know, like that person is doing something extremely specific. Like, I know I've had people in my life where I'm like, I'm going to this place. I know it. I've calculated it. I see it. All it's going to take me is time. And then, you know, sometimes it goes back to the negativity. It's like, not that people don't believe in you or believe you, but like, you know, when I told people I wanted to be a barber, they were like, dude, what the fuck are you thinking? And now, almost 20 years later of holding clippers, it's like, I've created one of the biggest books that, like, yeah, it kind of pisses people off. But then I also get to a point where, like, I share my book. When I'm not working, I send a specific 3 barbers, like, clients of mine. And I'm like, listen, this is where, like, I still show out the love. Like, I can't cut people all the time anymore.
One thing I love about you is you understand time, right? So it's like some people, they're like, you got time, you got time. No, those people need a timer, okay? You need to understand there's a fucking 12 o'clock and then there's another 12 o'clock and there's like 1 month, 3 months, 4 months. That's going to turn into a year.
I think people's lives are very, like, linear, though. Most people are thinking about the day. They're not really thinking about next week or next month, next year, you know? And I do believe that's, like, a financial thing. I try not to, like, really press this issue because there are outliers in the conversation. But, you know, when you only make a certain amount of money, you're only allowed a certain amount of opportunity. And if you're not actually willing to grind a little different and take the bumps and bruises, like, there's so many benefits to being like an entrepreneur. Like, and I tell people all the time, like, if you really grind through it, you'll tell people you would never do a 9 to 5 ever again. Like, the pain is worth the pleasure.
Yeah.
In a really fucking sick way.
And I feel like people that do 9 to 5s, that's fine. But like, I feel like then it's so important to have a hobby. Like, it's so important to like come home and like to paint, or come home and like to cook, and or come home and like to write. And I feel like that's so important. I feel like if you don't have aspiration and you don't have like something that gives you that like feeling, then you're living a life with no like direction. Like, I feel like you need direction. Like, some people live to be a mom. I personally am never gonna have kids, but like for women that like raise 4 kids, I'm like, good for you, chick. Like, you're on fire. So I feel like if that's
their goal, I am 100%
that's so
supportive.
awesome for me. But I'm saying like people with purpose. Like, I feel like purpose is so important to live a happy life. Something that gives you purpose.
I 110% agree. I think the scary part about that is what people choose as their purpose and how. You know, like, I have somebody that I know that went down the mother route and all they wanted to do was be a mother. Well, that person is a mother now, but now in a very, very toxic relationship with the man who gave her the kids because they can't afford the kids. Like, they literally have now sacrificed their lifestyle to just constantly want more of the same purpose. And I'm like, you ever hear somebody like kind of say like what they want? It's like, okay, I love that you have that goal for yourself, but like, do you understand the responsibility it entails, and can you emotionally handle it? Like the person I'm talking about with the 3 kids, you know, her life's nuts. She don't make any money. She's at home with the kids all day. This economy is fucking shit right now.
Oh my gosh.
And now her husband right now is under the gun, stressed. Like, do you know what I'm saying? It's like, did you prepare for 3 kids? Or did you just sporadically just want to do it because it sounded like that was the goal? And like, I get very disappointed with people because I'm like, you got to have some shit before it's too late to have something permanent. Like, have a car payment that's really expensive. So it's like, okay, that was dumb. I'm never going to do that.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
I feel like every decision has a sacrifice. And I feel like you have to, if you want nicer things, you have to sacrifice more time and put more money into it, etc. Like, for instance, the other day, so I have a Camaro and I pay $450 a month for it. I'll just throw my stuff out there. But the other day I was going to upgrade to a Blazer and they were going to tell me it was like $700 a month. I'm thinking in my head, that's crazy. So I go to talk to some people and everyone's like, that's normal. And I'm like, what is going on here? Like, I feel like, you know, I work hard. I deserve nice things. I want to have nice things. But it's still that like inner child broke mentality where I'm like, I just need to get to point A, point B. And then I'm good. Like,
no, you know what? Okay. You want to hear something crazy? In all of my years of business, you know what the hardest part has been?
What?
The financial discipline.
Yo, facts.
Because I've said to people plenty of times, like, you know, they're all like, oh, dude, you do really good. And I said, if I explained to you like how I set up my finances, I probably have the same amount of money in my weekly budget as you do, if not probably less, because I allocate it to so many different places. Like, my money isn't necessarily like my money's a tool. Like, my money's not a trophy. It's like, congratulations, like, fuck off. It's like, no, this does this does this. And it goes back to the whole 9 to 5. Like, if you're not making a certain amount of money, you can't prepare for certain things. Like I've said plenty of times, like, if you can account for your problems, you can account for your profits. If you know what they are. But if you just do something, you have no clue what problems it can do, it could put you back. Kind of like the thing with the woman with the 3 kids and the husband who doesn't make a lot of money. It's like, you guys are now putting yourself in a position to go backwards. Like, the whole goal of a family is to grow it. Like, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes, like, I might be going on a rant right now, but excuse me. It's like, there's got to be an opportunity financially. And like, sometimes being an entrepreneur is really the only way to have sometimes everything you think you want.
I don't want there to be like a stop goal of where I can get. Like, I want to be able to, if I want to make $200K in a year, I want to be able to do that. If I want to make $100K in a year, I want to be able to do that. I don't want anyone telling me what I can and cannot charge. And like, so that's fire to feel that way. But it's funny how you are, like how you're saying like, oh yeah, if my money goes to so many different places. Jay, guess how much my rent is a month? Just throw a guess.
I'm going to guess right now, in the state we're in, I'm going to say it's like $2,000 a month.
Okay. Go down.
1,500?
Go down.
Whoa, 1,000.
Go down.
Jesus, oh my God, you got the steal of a lifetime.
I pay $380 a month in rent because I live with my best friend and 2 other girls in a huge townhouse. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, every decision makes sacrifices. I travel all the time for work. I'm always tattooing on the road. Or if I'm not on the road, I'm tattooing, like 12 hours a day.
You're actually proving, like, okay, for everybody listening at this point, you know, this is kind of proving what I'm talking about when it comes to, you know, having a unique structure.
Yeah.
You know, everybody says, oh, yeah, we need to buy the house. We need to get this. We need to get this. Just, you know, we can show everybody what we got. And it's kind of like, okay, well, to be able to do that, I need to be able to save this kind of money. And I'm making this amount. So it's like, okay, I got to live with some homies for a little bit, you know, create some memories. Like, I feel like everybody wants the end goal first. They want the white picket fence first. They want the kid first.
Yeah.
They don't experience life for themselves before they give it to everything else. And then that's what creates that fucking whirlwind of lost responsibility.
To be honest with you, the reason I live with people is because I just actually don't want to live alone. Like, I don't like the feeling of being alone. So I was like, if I can pay less money, live with my best friend and 2 other girls that we all like have a fire set up, and I can travel all the time. I don't like anything that gives me the ick. I don't like people that give me the ick. I don't like bills that give me the ick. I don't like anything that I'm just kind of like, do you know what I mean? Unless it's like if I'm enjoying something. So like if I'm going out and I'm spending $500 in dinner, or if I'm going and spending, I guess I'm trying to say I like experience more than I like things.
Yes.
That's where all my money goes. Like, if I'm going to Florida, I'm going to motherfucking Florida. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to go to Florida and eat at Applebee's, which I like Applebee's and the ribs. I go there sometimes in the morning. I'm dead serious. The other day, I woke up and I looked at my boyfriend and I said, can we go get ribs from Applebee's? And he was like, bro, it's 11 o'clock. And I said, we'll get there at 11:30. Technically, it's 12.
Did you ever have the honey glazed chicken with the bacon bits and the mac and cheese? That's fire.
Oh, that's on the 2 for $25. We already there, baby.
Yeah, see, I haven't been there in years. Like it's been years since I've been at Applebee's, but that was the meal. I would get super fucking stoned, smoke a bone, and I'm like, I would just sit at the bar, get it, and just like I'd house it.
You know what I like about Applebee's? Applebee's reminds me when you're home and you want to run into the kitchen and grab something and you don't feel like eating out. Like I feel like I made Applebee's at my house. Do you know what I mean? Like that's why I like Applebee's, because it's like you can get a bunch of different shit. It's all like $5, and then you're just eating like this crazy meal, and then you leave and you feel like crap. But it's like you feel like crap, but you still got money in your pocket. You know what I'm saying? I like that. Like I still go shopping at Mandy's. Nothing's changed. I don't change my lifestyle. I change things I like to do.
Yeah.
Like I don't like bro, I'll go to Rainbow and fucking stack up on those shoes, bro. Or I'll like
to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hitting this.
Yeah, like I like cheap stuff, but I like I don't know. I like wearing cheap things, but I'm sitting in Miami. You know what I'm saying? So like I spend money on the things I know I need to spend money on, but like other than that, like I mean the most expensive thing I wear is my Versace watch.
Wait, can we elaborate on this for
and my
a
best
second?
for me.
I want to elaborate on exactly that. I have talked to so many people over the last, like, I'm going to say 5 years to when I really opened my mind to this.
Yeah.
But the experience thing is actually what's really like, you know, when you say like what actually drove me to continue barbering? Well, how about this? I'm going to give you the final stage. This is why I will never give it up. This is why I will never leave this. The experience that it gives me almost trumps anything that people have like a false confidence about. Like you ever hear people talking and they're massively confident, but you know 100% they are either full of shit or their assumption is completely it's just an assumption that they're confident about. You know what I mean? I get to that point, like with barbering, the conversations that I have, it's all statistical experience. It's like, where did you get that information? Who told you that? I'm not challenging it, but I'm just very curious to see how it's that way.
I actually dated a girl that thought the earth was flat, and she was the most confident person I've ever met in my life. Like, I'm not saying it's not flat. I'm not saying it's round. Yeah. I'm not saying it's a star. I'm not saying it doesn't do backflips. I'm just saying the confidence that she had that the earth was flat, bro, I hope I get that confidence in some type of way in my life. We'd be sitting there and it would be like a full-blown conversation. She'd be like, but the earth is flat. And I'm like, well, thank God for that. It has everything to do with what we're talking about.
Yeah, real quick, I want to touch on this for a second.
Yeah.
Because it happens once a week minimum in the barbershop. At least once a week in the shop, somebody brings up a conspiracy theory. And I'm like, let's go. What do you got?
Yeah.
Because I look at it as like, I'm never closed-minded to something, but I'll never pay attention to something where it will like overly consume me if like the outcome doesn't affect what I'm doing. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, if the earth is flat or not, I've been operating 35 years of my life in the same setting. So whether it was this way or that way, it doesn't change much. I said, the world's fucked up. We got a bunch of fucked up people running the world. I said, if it's flat or not, we can't get the Antarctica.
Yeah, like if it's flat or it's a circle, bro, I'm still depressed. So I don't know like what, like, I don't like, I'm still struggling with certain things and I'm like, not like, this is perfect. You know what I mean? But no, I feel like, you know what? I was so excited. This is off topic. I was so excited for this podcast. I was thinking we should do, since you're a barber hell yeah, that was awesome. Since you're a barber that's respected, and I think I'm pretty cool tatty girl, I wanted to ask you, like, if you want to do like 20 questions, like I ask you something about something if it's ever happened to you, and you asked me with tattooing. That'd be so funny.
Shoot, we can do a whole second session on that.
Okay.
I'm about that.
All right, cool.
Yeah, Chase, 20 questions. I'm about that.
That would be so cool.
I got one question for you.
Okay.
Looking at all your tattoos, I feel like we just, we've been talking about life for a minute. Like, let's kind of get to where we both kind of have like a massive addiction, if we could say that.
No, 100%.
What was your most painful tattoo?
Okay. So I have a whole bodysuit of Japanese traditional. I didn't say it was done, but I have a whole bodysuit there. I tattooed myself when I first started tattooing.
Okay.
I tattooed
Let's go.
never end across my stomach.
Oh.
I don't know why I did it. I honestly almost lost my apprenticeship. And then I got my friend Taylor that was tattooing at the shop I was at the time. We were all like, I was like, dude, I want some script on me, right? So he's like, lay down, like, we'll do. I was like, I want gypsy soul. Like, I want it to be like just when you see me, you see gypsy soul, because that's just what I am. Like, I'm a gypsy soul. He's like, all right, cool, sounds good. Bro, we got down gypsy, and I made him stop. It literally says gypsy on the back of my leg. Imagine me and you we having a good time, and I'm trying so hard to act like I'm a normal person, and then I turn around and I'm butt-ass naked and it just says gypsy. Like,
I mean,
gypsy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many.
do you plan on finishing the tattoo?
No, I don't. Fuck
You're
that.
leaving it. That's it. It's done.
I have a question.
Shoot.
What's your most painful tattoo?
I think you know the answer to that.
I tattooed Jay's neck, and it was just the whole time. It was like he was singing like a song, and he's like,
with all the tattoos I've had over the years, I mean, I don't know why. Like, I mean, the side of the neck's really thin. I know the skin's really tight there, and I got the back of my head done, my throat. Like, I got a half a bodysuit. I don't have anything on the legs but a small piece. But like, as of right now, I got a half a suit, and like, I just remember that I was almost halfway in tears. I was like, oh my God, I almost had to laugh through it. Like,
we had to stop and he had to come back and do the other side. So he's just fucking.
Oh my God. Now, aside from that, because that really fucking sucked, I think the other one that hurt really bad.
The ribs.
No, my stomach.
Oof.
Like,
yeah.
finishing my whole stomach. Like, shout out to Gary for that one, because I remember I was probably such a pain in the ass for him, because I was like, dude, this fucking hurts. At one point, I remember, like, I kind of was like, yo, give me a break. And he was like, yeah, go ahead. So I ran into the back of Empire, and I was just sitting in the bathroom. I took a quick piss, and I'm like staring in the mirror. And when you almost like go green for a second, and I'm like, oh my God, like, I need like a pretzel, some Pedialyte.
Something to eat.
I'm fucked right now.
Yo.
I literally turn and just puke. And I'm like, like, I almost got lightheaded. I was like, holy shit, I've never felt pain like that.
I've actually had somebody pass out on me before.
I mean, I didn't pass out, but I was pretty fucking close. Like,
yeah, it was petrifying.
Yeah, it was a scary experience, because I was in a bathroom by myself. Yeah. Like, if I went down, like, it probably would have been like, he's probably like, where the fuck did he go? Like, I purposely didn't lock the bathroom door just in case.
Dude, I remember, listen, I have never almost passed out from a tattoo, but I've almost passed out in life, and it is not a comforting feeling. Like, I feel like whatever you believe in, God, the universe, like, why couldn't you all just make passing out like a little bit more peaceful? Like, passing out feels like you're gonna die. Like, I'm good, bro. Like, I'm good.
It's like, just turn the light off real quick.
Yep.
Just turn it off real quick. Thank you.
Yeah, no, that's so funny.
You got like crazy intrusive thoughts at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's like, dude, I just want to go to bed.
I'm not a sleeper. I don't fall asleep. Well, I don't fall asleep. Well, I mean, like, my boyfriend, he's like this, right? But he's like 40 years old, so he's like halfway to, you know what I'm saying? He's tired. I'm sorry, baby. You my pup.
Oh my God. Yeah, we got to give him credit though. At least he can fall asleep.
Yo.
I can't fall asleep worth a shit. I usually can if I smoke a huge joint before I go to bed. Then I'll be good. That's like my nightcap.
See, I wish I could, like, my thing is like, when I smoke, like, I like smoking. Like, one time I thought a bar sucked, right? And then I left, went upstairs. It was me and my coworker at a convention. And I went upstairs. We thought the bar sucked, and we smoked. And dude, everything was so fucking funny that me and her went back down to the bar, and it was like the funnest time ever because we were high as shit.
It was like a recharge.
Yeah, like, it was a recharge. See, I like smoking, but like, one time I was smoking at my house because I picked it up a couple years ago, and I'm by myself. And you don't know you're high until you try to lock your door like 10 times, and you got to keep going back. So that's why I stopped smoking in the mornings, because I barely got to work, bro. Like, I would drive, and everything would be moving super slow. Oh my God, it tripped me out. Like, I have a lot of respect for smokers, because you just coasting through life, just like on a cloud and
Yeah.
getting it done.
Dude,
I'm down here like,
dude, I live on a cloud. And
Yeah.
I'll tell you this, I think life is all about like, the mindset,
Yeah.
like your standpoint and perspective. Sometimes like I look at smoking as, aside from like a great pain reliever for me, I look at it as like a very like opening experience. Like when I smoke with somebody, I'm like, okay, I now have like a more open perspective to the conversation, because sometimes when I'm not smoking, or, I'm not like completely just blazed out of my mind, like I'm on focus mode.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I can't focus on like what somebody's saying to me if I'm not like directly smoking,
Yeah.
like, focusing on them. Like when people take Adderall to focus, it's like, no, that doesn't work for me. Like cocaine never worked for me. Like if anything, that shit made me tired.
No, I never got into like drugs. Like was never my thing. I ended up with people that did them, but like I never was somebody that struggled with that, which I have a lot of respect for anyone that can bounce back. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like that is such like a huge, I feel like that puts you in a different caliber of something you have to overcome. You know what I mean? And that is what makes me think some of the people that are in recovery or have recovered, or except, I don't know how that goes, but I'm saying like, I have a lot of respect for people like that, because you literally had to go to hell and come back and be amongst everyone else that never really had an issue like that.
So when I was younger, I had to break out of that lifestyle. So that was like my one cross to bear with myself. It was one of them things where when I was younger, I had a lot of people that just let me like go live my life.
Yeah.
Sometimes the guidance wasn't there at like a specific time.
Yeah.
So when I got into a specific lifestyle when I was younger with those same people, it kind of took me down a road all the way to, oh my God, this is fun. This is great. We were living the lifestyle, if you want to call it, like that facade of what it is. And one day I just remember, I just see flashing lights behind my car and I'm like, oh, fuck. And just that moment in my life, I'm like, wow, this is what this feels like. Like you're on a high for so long, just taking certain shit and just doing whatever the fuck you want to do. Cause like no one's stopping you. No one's caught you yet. No one, you know what I mean?
I was just going to say that. It's kind of like you got to face yourself now. You have to face yourself, because now like every decision has sacrifice. You have to now, face the end goal of what you then realize when you have to face what you did, that you put yourself there and nobody else is at fault for it. And I think that's the scariest pill to swallow out of all of them.
Yeah, that's another one of them gut pinches.
Yeah, you're like, oh, fuck.
But that's, like I said, I say this to everybody. I'm like a broken fucking record. Say it. I give everything that I've understood to the barbershop. Everything. Like the way you talk about the people in the lab. Like, they're your mentors. They're the people.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Grow. Like they care. I was around people that, whether they didn't care or not, they made the environment okay to feel like I could grow. Like there was never anybody in Phenomenal's barbershop that, made it hard for me. Like they were very, very like supportive.
Yeah.
And, I was the one white guy in the shop for years. Like there was never another white barber. And I'm like, all right, I'm kind of like the outlier here, but like no one treats me any different. Like I always would say hi to everybody in the morning. Like, me, I'm an upbeat person. And, it's like spreading that contagious, like that contagious vibe. It's like the only reason I left there was because I felt like it was time to grow.
Well, my question is, because I feel like tattooing saved my life. I mean, it fucking did. Like, if it wasn't for tattooing, I wouldn't be here. I'd be with someone's baby dad in a trailer park. Like, I did not have a good taste in men before, like, at all. Like, I mean, and women. I mean, actually, no, I think I've always dated women that were on a different caliber. I think I've always dated, like, I don't know what it was with guys. I don't know. That was off topic, but I feel like, where you work, who you're around is so crucial to your growth. And I feel like I didn't realize that until I got the job at the lab, and Dan and Mark and a few of the other guys that were there, they really like took me under their wing. I was at work one day and Dan was like, yo, if you need help with your, he's talked to me about stuff outside of tattooing, like how I can put my finances better, how I can do this better. Like they care. And it's like, and they're already on this level that, like, you know what I mean? Like, some people just aren't,
Well,
and they don't mind paving that for me.
well, how do you? Okay, so let me ask you this: I'm a lone wolf.
Yeah,
Like I do everything
yeah,
on my own. Like I don't.
yeah,
And it's not that I don't trust people. It's just I know people won't work as hard as I will for
yeah,
what I want. So I don't jeopardize the
mm-hmm.
future of what I'm doing for someone
Yeah,
else's opinion.
yeah,
You know, in a weird way. Plus, like I said in like previous episodes, like barbering's super selfish because it doesn't come necessarily with a high price tag per cut.
mm,
Like I mean, you can probably get like $50 a cut if you're really good. Like if you're really sharp, like you know what you're doing, like you're great with your clients. Like I think 50 is a very reasonable price. Like you see all these people that charge a $200-300 a cut. It's like, well, if it's a mobile cut, I understand. You're saving somebody's time, and that person's time
yeah,
is expensive. That makes sense, you know. But you know, the whole like experience of it with the people in Phenomenals, like the people in the lab, you know, it's tough because like I'm like really digging for this one, and it's like it's very special because the people that I see that have those negative thoughts in life that we were talking about earlier, like sometimes where the laziness comes from, like,
yeah.
it is your environment, and
It is.
it's actually simple. Like the problems people have, like
Yeah,
I think like when we were talking about like the stuff that was going on in my life, like when you were tattooing me, you know, I remember we kind of came down to where it says, wow, this is just really simple. Like, and we just made such a fucking complex.
you make this
like,
big thing, yo, and it's wild because the lab gives me structure. Like, they give me structure because it's like I'm working next to some of the best in the business of black and gray, and it's kind of like it's like you're not there on Monday, then where are you? You know what I mean? They really hold me accountable for my actions, and they make me like, if I do a good job, they're like, good job. You know what I mean? They don't mind giving you a compliment. But if you're not doing a good job, they pull you aside. How can you do better? Like, what's something you need to learn? Like, they're just really good teachers. And I mean, I just sent a thank you text the other day. Like, they make me so, I personally feel like one of my biggest dreams was to work there years ago. I just never thought I would get there. So the fact that I can say I get to work next to these guys every day and these girls every day that are literally my family, it just means the world to me.
oh yeah,
It means the world to me. I mean, I'm really good friends with Gracie and Kelly that also work there, and they're just, I don't know, like, I'll look up to Gracie and she'll just do something with her hands, and then I come back and it's like the best black and gray tattoo I've ever seen in my life. So it's like, and Kelly is just phenomenal as well, and I just feel like, I don't know, it's really cool being around really talented people, but also they make work fun, and then you feel like you just are hanging out with your friends all day. That's the best way I can describe the lab. Like,
I also can see like, you know, your personality kind of, I think, can thrive off them. You ever notice some people don't want to, like they don't want to actually bring other people up?
no,
That's something that,
those are the worst kind of people.
yeah, and that's scary. I've noticed it's a lot of people. Like everybody's always wondering why I'm so nice. I'm like, because I know it could change your mindset
Yep.
real quick if just something that like I know nobody says a fucking thing about. I'm gonna tell you, it's like, don't forget, that's what kept me going.
Mm-hmm.
Those little things where people were like, yo, thanks, or yo, because of this is this, and I'm like, I do have an effect. I feel like people don't know the effect that they have on others, and it kind of dulls the light that they really have. It's almost like the juice isn't going there.
Yeah.
There's juice everywhere, but like nobody's like plugging it in.
I feel like
You know what I
there's
mean?
no excuse to be a negative person. Like, I feel like if there's no excuse for something, it's just wrong. Like, being a negative person, no one's ever been like, thank God that guy was an asshole. Like, you know what I mean? Like, no one, I don't care. Like I posted something the other day on Facebook. I was just saying, like, I'm too busy for y'all's drama. Like, if you, these girls, I mean, they making fun of me for my lips and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, you're mad at me about my lips, but you're at the bar every night. Like, I can afford it because I make sacrifice. Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I can't stand a hater. Like, one thing I cannot stand is a hater. And there's some people that got to knock people's buildings down to make their taller up. They don't just do the structure work. And I feel like that's the worst kind of person. And I feel like most of the hate just comes from the bottom anyway. So nobody likes to see you doing better than them.
Yeah, I don't necessarily find people that are doing well talking shit.
Yeah, no, I don't ever.
Unless they're competing with someone else who's doing well, like, and it's just pure fun competition. Like, other than that, like, most of the people that I've ever heard have some hate, usually either didn't make something for themselves or, you know, didn't know how, or maybe didn't have the guidance or didn't take advantage. Like, you know, I think that's one thing that I could say you've done very well. Like, you've taken advantage of great opportunities and maybe some that people don't know is in front of them every day. It's like, there's an opportunity every time you talk to a person. What do you want to talk about?
I think networking is so important for somebody that's an entrepreneur. Like when people have,
I think just in general.
Yeah.
Like, just talking to people is like, learn how to talk. Like some people are scared shitless to talk to people. I'm like, what is that guy going to tell me? Go fuck myself? It's like,
no, I'm the girl that will literally just like, I'll be like, hi, you know, like I don't mind stepping out of my comfort zone because I feel like I just don't even have a zone. Like I feel like if you meet me and you don't think I have a screw loose, then something's wrong with you. Do you know what I mean?
Some of us got a screw loose that helps that.
Yeah, right? So I'm saying, like, I don't mind, like, going up and being like, hi, I'm Megan. Like, I want to tattoo you or whatever, vice versa. Or, like, posting my stuff on Instagram. You know what I mean? Give the people what they want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And you know what? I think, and this is why I wanted to have you on so bad, because, like I said, your personality from everything that, like, we've spoken about over the years, what we got to cover on this episode today, you know, it's a very inspiring story. As you've told me I've helped you, it's like you've also helped me as well. So I think that's what a lot of people forget. You could learn from like different levels. Like I think sometimes people are only focused on learning from the one top dog. It's like, yo, don't forget, like before the guy that's got the Lamborghini, like there's the dude that's got, you know, the nice truck. That's like 60 G's. It's like, ask him what he does and see if he's receptive to it. You know, like the idea to just always being receptive to change, I think is like where you thrive, you know, and trust me, it's a tough lifestyle, but like it's been the most beneficial thing I've ever done in my life.
I think that's something I'm grateful for is the ride with it. You know what I mean? Like I feel like you ever seen like now we're gonna bring up music, right? You ever seen those people that start off and they jump, they like get famous really quick and then fall right off. I love the fact that it's taken me so long to get here because I feel like there's so much knowledge with that. Do you know what I'm saying? So,
Nah, I agree 100%. Yeah. I love that you're down for the
ride.
Fuck yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Well, guys, look, thanks for tuning in. And Meg, it's been a blessing to have you on. Thanks for taking the trip down here and stopping by. Like this was an awesome experience. I'm so happy you're doing well.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate for having me. I think it's really cool, like meeting each other. You're a judge at the show. I didn't know, you know what I mean, from a can of paint, and then you just turned into be somebody that, I mean, is one of the most loyal, you know, hardworking people I've ever met in my life. So I appreciate you for respecting me enough to bring me on here.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Guys, check her out. Her info is going to be at the bottom and inside the show. This is Megan Duffy, guys. Peace.